Lumix just announced brand new firmware for the Lumix S5II and S5IIX. And the great thing is that this firmware actually gives so many more features to both of these cameras. And the even better part is that it's completely free of charge, which means that you guys can go ahead and get these extra features for your cameras without spending any extra money. So in today's video, I just wanted to go through what you can expect to see in this new firmware package and sort of break down exactly what each new feature does. The new firmware will be available to download from April the 22nd, so be sure to mark that in your diaries. So let's just get on to what is actually in this firmware, starting off with something that I'm very excited to see, and that is proxy recording. So with this brand new firmware package, you can now record proxies with both the Lumix S5II and S5IIX. And this is fantastic for anyone that knows about proxy workflows in editing. Essentially, it's like a smaller file that you can edit with that's a lot nicer on your computer. And it also means you can sort of share footage back and forth with editors a lot more smoothly as well. And then once you're sort of done with the edit, you can just reattach the original bigger file, and then you have a fully edited project without any sort of stress and without bogging down your computer too. It's also really good, like I said, if you are someone that works with satellite editors and you transfer footage quite a lot between multiple people or computers. It means that your sort of transfer sort of time will be a lot shorter because of course these files are much smaller. So you can actually record proxy files when shooting in either 4K or Cinema 4K up to 60p at 422 10-bit with 200 megabits per second as your sort of data rate, if you like. And then you can actually record your original file to the SD card slot 1 and then the proxy file to the second SD card slot. Or if you're using the Lumix S5IIX, you can actually record your original file to the USB SSD function, so to the SSD, and then have your proxy being recorded to the second card slot on your camera, which is really cool, and I don't think I've ever seen that with any other camera brand before. Another cool thing is that you can be recording either MOV or Apple ProRes and still get those proxy files being recorded simultaneously. So if you are someone that likes to shoot Apple ProRes with your S5IIX, then you can still get proxies using this codec. You can also choose whether you want to bake in a real-time LUT to the proxy file or just to the original file. So if you are someone that utilizes the real-time LUT function with your Lumix cameras, then you can still get that benefit using proxies too. And I think this links very nicely to the next upgrade in this firmware package, if you want to call it that. And that's the integration with Frame.io. Now, if you've never heard of Frame.io before, then I'd highly suggest you check out this platform. But to sort of keep it really brief, it essentially allows you to sort of share projects with multiple people and get feedback on those projects in real time. So it's really good for delivering client work and also when working with editors as well. So with this integration, what it means is that you can essentially connect your Lumix camera to your Frame.io account, and then you can actually upload files to Frame.io through your camera via a Wi-Fi or LAN network sort of thing. So it means that you can essentially upload your footage without the sort of process of manually doing it with your computer. So you can actually upload proxy files, RAWs and JPEGs via this function. Unfortunately, you can't upload the original massive hefty video file, but to be honest, the whole point is that you can get files across to an editor much quicker, straight from your camera, and then they can go ahead and start editing even when you're not sort of back at home ready to sort of offload your media. So that's really cool, and it will make the sort of workflow very quick for teams. If you are someone that works in a team and likes to share footage a lot, then I can see this integration being very beneficial. And that's also the benefit of being able to utilize the real-time LUT function as well on the proxies. So it means that you're not uploading, just to sort of log footage that your clients will think looks horrible. It means you can actually get something with a nice LUT already baked in. So when they look at it, they don't puke, which is really nice. So that's how the sort of two work in hand. And then moving on to some improvements in the autofocus recognition systems. So in the G9 II, we got a few new sort of subject detection algorithms, and they were animal eye AF, car and motorcycle AF. So those three subject detection modes will be coming to the S5II and the S5IIX in this firmware, which means that if you are someone that likes to shoot wildlife, then fantastic, you can now focus on the animal's eye. And if you're someone that likes to shoot automobiles of that sort, so cars or motorcycles, then again, the algorithms have been improved to make that a little bit easier for you. So that's great to see as well. And then another improvement that's sort of been brought over from the Micro Four Thirds family of cameras is PreBurst Shooting. And I'm sure anyone that's used PreBurst Shooting in the past is going to be very happy to see it in the Lumix S5II and S5IIX. And this mode essentially acts like a redundancy sort of thing, almost like a safety net, a safety blanket, if you like. So if you're doing a burst mode in shooting photography, and essentially it captures a few frames before you press record and a few frames after you press record, just to make sure that you didn't miss that important moment. Let's say, for example, if it's a bird taking flight and you're into wildlife, then PreBurst Shooting will sort of save your ass in that sense. And then the final improvement to come along with this firmware package is a improvement in the stabilization mode inside these two cameras. They didn't really specify exactly what they've done to make the stabilization better. They just said that it's been improved somewhat. And what I'll do in the coming weeks is try and test it out to let you guys know if I can see any visible difference. But to be honest, when it comes to stabilization and Lumix, we know they always smash it out of the park. So if they say it's improved, it probably is improved quite substantially to make it a sort of part of this firmware upgrade. So personally, I think that this firmware update is a fantastic example of how Lumix really continue to innovate and update their products, as opposed to just bringing out something newer and then sort of leaving those investors in the older gear sort of high and dry with a camera that's outdated. It really shows how they're trying to sort of push the fold and keep on innovating with their existing product lineup. And I think that's a fantastic thing for a sort of tech company to be doing. It's really nice to see that they're still investing the time and energy into making our products that we already own better for us and for our end use case. And it just sort of shows where Lumix's mind is at and how much they care about the people that actually use their equipment. If you'd like to get the most out of your Lumix cameras, then I definitely suggest you watch some of the other videos on this channel, since I delve quite deeply into the codecs, the AF setup, and basically everything else that you can think of surrounding these bodies. So definitely check those out, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.